Let's make tacos!
With ground seitan. So there's 1.5 million ways to make plant-based vegan style tacos. You can use beans, you can use tofu, you can use TVP. We like to use ground seitan. Okay, so what am I starting with?
You're starting out with a full cup of vital wheat gluten. To that, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, a tablespoon each of the Wonder Twins, onion powder, and garlic powder. Our last dry ingredient is going to be some beetroot powder. We're gonna do 1.5 tablespoons.
All right, now what?
1.5 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. I have measured out 3/4 of a cup of water.
So I'm just dumping in like half of that, like I always do, and I'll start the mixing process, which is basically just like making dough. Now, I know already that this is far too dry, so I'm just gonna put in the rest of the water. See, I need even more than the 3/4 of a cup water. There's a lot of dry ingredients in this. I got about another half cup here. I'm gonna use a 1/4 cup, so like half of a half, you know.
If you eyeball your dry, you're probably gonna have to eyeball your wet as well.
Okay, once it gets to about that kind of consistency where it's like a solid mass holds together, that's what I'm gonna get. The best tools I have, and that's my hands. And I like to do this stretchy thing in my hands like this. It should feel like a soft dough. I like to go until I see that skin and like the strands forming across the top there. When that doesn't break super easy, that's when you know you're kneaded just about enough. Once I get there, I'm just gonna scrape up the bowl one last time, form it into a mass. Something like, just make it like a huge burger. You know, something like that. All right, so I have here the Gigundous Instant Pot. With ours came this lovely steamer basket. If you don't have a steamer basket, any way that you can raise this from the bottom of the pot is great. I've seen people use like a tinfoil snake and stuff like that. It's all good. But this sits about 1 inch from the bottom. And I just want like 1 inch of water, just enough to get into the bottom, just barely. Then I have some parchment, but I have a trick for it. It never lays flat for me. It always rolls up and that drives me nuts. And then stick that in the bottom. If I don't put that on the bottom, what'll happen is the seitan, as it cooks, will push through the little ringlets in the steamer basket and then it's harder to get out. Take our seitan, drop it in there. This goes in the Instant Pot for 30 minutes on high pressure. After it's done the 30 minutes, I usually just release the pressure and pull it out. So you don't have to naturally release. You can, it's not gonna hurt anything, but I don't bother. Okay, so the timer went off and I released the pressure, pulled the seitan out, and it's sitting. In a perfect world, you would want to refrigerate this or let it come to room temperature slowly. I don't live in a perfect world, so we're gonna press on right now. Basically chop it up into chunks. But I can show you the texture of it. It's beautiful in the middle. That's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Chunks. They don't have to be tiny. They just have to be chunks. But it's going in the food processor. And yes, this is still really hot. So once you have it in your food processor, really, really simple. Blitz it a little bit. And what we're looking for is a ground meat texture. That's it. So once you've processed your seitan down to crumbles like this, it's time to head to the stove. Okay, put a pan on the stove, and for heat, I'm gonna go to 4.052 on our stove. That's a joke, by the way. It's just, you know, saying 4 is boring. And then we have our ground seitan right in. Get it all, you paid for it. I'm just gonna kind of spread it out.
Now it's time for some flavor. We're gonna start with 2 teaspoons of ground cumin.
And I'm just gonna eyeball it, as I always do. If you really like cumin, you can use more. Seasonings aren't hard and fast here. It's not like the seasoning police are gonna show up at your door and arrest you or anything.
1 tablespoon of chili powder.
Now this is not a hot, spicy chili powder. If you like that, like a chipotle or something, go for it. I would think that'd be fantastic in this.
1 teaspoon each of the Wonder Twins, garlic powder, and onion powder.
Now, if you're wondering, why are we seasoning this so much if we just seasoned the seitan? Why could you just add it into the seitan? You totally can, but this way your ground can be used for other things too. So I like to do it this way, and it's much easier to remember, and it's very consistent because I have added spices and things to a seitan recipe before, and it came out with a different texture than I expected. So having a consistent recipe works really, really well.
1 tablespoon of dried oregano. Pepper and salt to taste.
I'm just gonna do, I don't know, a solid pinch. What's that, maybe half a teaspoon of black pepper? Salt is optional, but I like to add a little bit to this. It just adds a touch more flavor. That was like a 1/4 teaspoon.
All right, so now we're gonna add some tomato flavor, which is actually going to add a surprisingly lot to this dish for only a teaspoon of tomato paste.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit more than a teaspoon, but it's okay.
Speaking of flavor, it's time for nutritional yeast. A full tablespoon, please.
Now, the nutritional yeast is here for flavor as well as to be a little bit of a binder. Because if you've ever thought about it, taco meat kind of sticks together. And this seitan on its own will probably not stick together so well. So between the tomato paste and the nutritional yeast, we get some binder in there. Because see how crumbly this is right now? Not for long.
Just so that things blend well together, we're gonna use a liquid. And our favorite liquid is our homemade veggie broth.
About 1/4 cup. And then just mix that together.
Now, because we made our ground seitan earlier, this actually doesn't have to cook. The only reason why we're cooking it is so that all those flavors meld together and we have a really delightfully tasteful taco meat.
It already smells amazing.
It really does.
But you see how it's kind of coming together, it clumps a little bit. That's what we're looking for. You don't want it to be super wet, but you know, just enough to stick together. That's really all we need.
So how long do you think we need to saute this?
Oh, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Depends on the temperature that your seitan was. If you just pulled it out of the fridge, you might need 10 minutes to heat it all the way through. But if you just made it, 5 minutes is probably all you really need. If you start to hear too much of a sizzle, turn your pan down. That means it's too hot. It does not need to be that hot. You just want to heat this through.
You can also add a little bit more veggie broth if you feel it's necessary.
All right, so once this is heated through, we'll be over to assemble some tacos. All right, it's time to assemble our tacos.
We're going to start with tortillas, and Brian wants to share some information about these particular tortillas that we've chosen for today.
Okay, I really try to watch the amount of fiber that I eat, and I try to cut back on some of the carbs that I eat. Like pasta, bread, and tortillas are the 3 biggest problems that I have for carbs because I am a type 2 diabetic. So I found these Olay Extreme Wellness. It says 0 net carbs. I don't go for that. But let me read to you some of these nutrition facts. 2 tortillas is 60 calories, which is really low, okay? I can eat like 4 of these, no problem. Then 1.5 grams of total fat per 2 tortillas. Not bad at all. Then we have carbohydrates, 14 grams of carbs, 13 grams of dietary fiber. Now these have allulose in them, which is not my favorite ingredient. There are others that don't. The small amount that's in here probably isn't going to be a factor for me. I don't worry about it. They use that against the carbohydrates to get a 0 net carbs. I don't go for any of that. I'm looking at the amount of fiber that's in them. Because if I eat 4 of these, that's 26 grams of fiber. And that 26 grams of fiber is huge because the average American is not even getting 25 or 30 grams of fiber. I aim for 60 to 100 a day, and it's helped tremendously with my numbers. But anyway, let's get these out. And we get these at the grocery store. We find them at Walmart, of all places. Walmart, Publix, they all have them.
The one cautionary tale I would like to give about these carb watcher tortillas is that you want to check the fat on those because lots of times they're going to bump up the fat so that there's more flavor while they're focusing on how low carb they are.
Yeah, I don't get the ones marked keto because the keto ones usually have a lot more fats. I don't want the fats. I just want the lower carb and high fiber. So we're gonna make 2 tacos. See that? Put them next to each other.
So as many different types of fillings as there are for tacos, there is as many different toppings as well. So we have some of our favorites out here today, but basically put whatever you want on your taco. It's your taco.
So we just found a couple of simple ones. See, you want to be careful when you're filling a taco. Do not overfill the taco. That's the number 1 mistake in taco making world.
All right, so one of the things that I really enjoy on a taco is shredded cabbage. I prefer this to lettuce because it has a nice crunch that is retained even against a hot filling.
And purple cabbage, they call it red cabbage even though it's purple, actually has a higher amount of anti-inflammatories in it than lettuce does. So there's something you know now.
Yeah, that's a fun trick for any vegetable. If you find one that has a darker, redder variety, that's probably going to have more of those antioxidants.
Next is tomatoes. Now these are Roma tomatoes that I just chopped up. I love Roma tomatoes.
We like using Roma tomatoes because they tend to have a more flesh to juice ratio, which is really great when you want to add something to a taco.
I'm trying to make them pretty because I got to take a picture of this.
We're also going to add a little bit of salsa today. I was saving that for last.
All right, fine.
Spoiling it for me.
Little salsa. This happens to be paste thick and chunky. I mean, we like it.
Don't blame.
Yeah.
Don't cast shade on us. But we do have a fresh pico recipe that I'll make sure to link because that is excellent and would be great for a taco.
You were going to say don't salsa shame, weren't you?
I was, and I kind of fumbled over my words.
Yeah.
Now, this thing that Brian grabs is lime juice, and we love a little splash of lime juice on tacos. Now,
preferably would be a fresh lime that you squeeze.
We don't have any.
We didn't have any.
So
I'm just gonna kind of
little dash.
Just
a little bit.
Just a couple of drops. That's all you need. That's it. Walk away.
Now, we're actually going to serve this whole meal to our family tonight for dinner, so that's why we're just kind of keeping it simple from here. But of course, you can do a cashew crema on this. You can do a guacamole. All those recipes, plus so much more we have available here on the bistro. And I'll make sure to link some appropriate ones in our description.
Best part of every cooking show, we get to taste this now.
Remember that thing about not filling them too much?
I always do. I have a little trick for that though. Usually one side has a little bit more of an edge than the other, or less stuff near it. I like kind of fold in that corner and I hold it there. That way things don't fall off the back as easily. Only works with soft tacos. If you do crunchy tacos, it doesn't work.
This is going to be messy. You might want to turn away.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm going to turn off the sound for the chewing noises. That's a good taco. Yeah, it has all the flavors that you would expect. The cumin, the chili powder really come through. The crunch of that cabbage is so wonderful. The little bit of tang from the salsa and the lime juice, just fantastic. And it takes no time at all to make these, really. The seitan ground, if you have some of that in your fridge or your freezer, you can knock this together in like 20 minutes. It takes no time at all. So make this. This is just so good. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on The Bistro.